I don't need no one to save me. I was born to be the greatest. All that time in that basement, all that time isn't wasted. Rapping getting faded. I just wanna tell my mom that I made it. Just wanna be the topic of the conversation. Used to rock the gold plated. Now I'm wearing gold chains like I'm famous.
I'm ready. Hold on. Let me go to your page.
It's too late. Okay, it's too late. Is it late? Okay, everyone. Hi, how are you guys tonight? I know we had to make some plan changes, but we are here today with Polly by Nations, and we are going to be speaking with King and Dreams today regarding Polly and by Nations, and we're going to talk a little bit about where he has traveled and all the places that he has seen different things and different relationships, and then we're going to get right into it. So we're going to start with you, King and Dreams. Thanks for coming on.
Absolutely. Thank you for
Introduce
having me.
yourself.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Yes. So you can tell us a little about yourself and your YouTube channel and where do you go?
Absolutely. So I am a YouTube content creator. And so what my channel focuses on is motivation, lifestyle, and travel. And so with traveling, I like to talk about how places where I've traveled to, the culture, the food. When it comes to motivation, uh, physical health, mental health, lifestyle is about interrelationship dynamics and things of that sort. So I have a bevy of things that I discuss on my channel. So the short term answer is again motivation, lifestyle, and travel. So I kind of like to, keep it simple, but under those tiers, if you will, those are the things that I like to discuss on my platform.
Oh yes, and I've actually been on your platform a few times. You have some discussions with some ladies. You have ladies' night that you do also, and
Mhm.
you have a whole panel of women, and we come together and talk about some different topics. It's really nice, and that's how we kind of panels. And I will say um, that one of the things that we noticed when I was going on the panels is kind of about traveling, and that's kind of sparked my interest to do this series. And where are some of the places that you have visited in the world? I know you do your traveling. Where have you actually visited?
Yeah, so I've had my passport since I was 3 years old. I just turned 38. So today actually officially makes it a month because I turned 38 February 7th.
Mm.
Um, and so I've had my passport since I was 3 years old. So some of the places of where I've been through all throughout the Caribbean. I am of Jamaican descent, but I was born in the States, in New York City to be exact. So I've been to Jamaica. Been to Aruba. Been to the Bahamas. Been to I think the Bahamas is part of the state. So, but I've been to Bermuda, Aruba, uh, been to Canada, and Dominican Republic, Colombia. I've been to the United Kingdom, just to name a few.
Okay. So where do you like where do you think that you've like connected with the most? Where did you choose to kind of go to the most? Like what location
Yeah,
do you
so
like the best?
right. So outside of Jamaica, I would say Colombia. One of the reasons why I connected with Colombia a lot is because of the Afro culture there. And when I first went there, I wasn't privy to that. And so one of my best friends who I went to high school with, he's also a content creator. Shout out to the Flyboy Way. And so what we did together, we went to this place called Palenque, Colombia. And so, for those who don't know, Palenque, Colombia is the first territory of the free slaves of all of the Americas. So, that's North, Central, and South America. So, really just seeing how the people lived there was a very humbling experience. And these people are the type of people that would give their shirt off their back for you and just always had a smile on their face. Very impoverished area. Um, like they have dirt roads. Uh, you see animals like in the middle of the road. Some places, some houses don't have front doors. I mean, it's a place where anyone that's thinking about you're having a bad day and you go to Palenque, Colombia, you would say, I'm not really having that bad of a day. You know what I
Oh,
mean?
okay.
Yeah. It's just because it's such a humbling experience, right? And so, especially a lot of us in the United States, we take a lot of things for freedom. I'm sorry, not for freedom, for granted. Freedom is the wrong word. So we take things for granted, right? And so it's important to note that for us who do take things for granted, where there are people who have so much less than what we have, and they're so much more happier. And that was the experience that I got, and that was really like the selling point of why I fell in love with the country of Colombia as a whole.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good. So do you feel like when you had that experience also, was it more of a you went to a village? I mean, because that's what it sounded like. It's not like a city. This is more of a like more of a village kind of type feel.
Yeah, it's not a village, it's a town. So
Okay.
it's a town, right? It's a town, and what they do is they pretty much police themselves. Um,
Mm.
like seriously, they police themselves. So like someone was to sit in a do a crime, like that community would actually figure out how long that person would have to stay in that particular jail, how many days or weeks or months or whatever. The whole town would vote on it. So they police themselves, right?
Oh,
It's
okay.
not a village though. It's not a village, but it's a town.
It was a town. Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. Now, I think you said you really enjoyed going there.
yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
do you have anything that connects you with any other place? Like I know people just go to visit. Are you just traveling for more just fun, just to get away from the hustle and bustle? Are you trying to plan an exit, out of America? A lot of you hear that a lot. What is your real purpose for going in and out of the country?
Well, when I initially started traveling in my adulthood, it was more or less for like the culture and the experience. And when I started, when I went to Palenque, Colombia, as I mentioned, I fell in love with the country, and then I started going out to Medellin, Colombia, Medellin, and so I was going out there pretty frequently. And one of the things that I did was is that um, I said, well, if I'm going to be traveling out here very frequently, I want to make sure that I'm able to basically set myself up with some sort of business to where my trips are paying for themselves. So I got an apartment, turned it into an Airbnb. So when I'm not in Medellin, Colombia, I rent my apartment out as an Airbnb. So whenever I'm traveling back and forth to Colombia to the United States, my trips are basically paying for themselves.
Oh,
And
okay, okay.
so yeah, so just to add on to what I'm saying, so now So now, like when I travel, I mean, yes, of course, I want to go for the culture and the experience, but now, now that like I'm still young, but I'm getting older, but now I'm looking at it, um, also for culture, and then also for a financial aspect as well.
Okay. And since we're going kind of down this range, like you said, you're going out there for more businesses now. We everyone's kind of been on the spot about Passport Bros in the last, I don't know, couple months. Different things have
Mhm.
been happening. But do you think that the kind of like the backlash, uh, what do you think is the real purpose of Passport Bros? Like, how would you describe Passport Bros?
Um, you kind of broke up there, but I think your question was is that what is the overall purpose of Passport Bros? Is that the question?
Yes.
Okay, got it. All right.
Yes. Yes.
So the overall purpose of Passport Bros, what it originally was supposed to be about is men of different cultures, different races, traveling abroad, whether it's for businesses, resources, and could be romantically as well, for romantic relationships. The media has taken this narrative and has spun it to where it's basically saying that men are just traveling, for X tourism. I don't want to get your channel demonetized, so I just say X tourism, right? And so that could be further from the case, right? So that may be like a percent of a percent, and maybe what people see online. But most of the men who do travel are not content creators.
Mm,
So yeah, so like and like there's two, there's like three big groups online, and each of them have like over 15,000 plus gentlemen, and maybe let's say 50 of them are content creators. So the content creator, when it comes to the travel community, is really small. So I can understand why people may get this whole thing misconstrued. But most men who travel have traveled for a long time. As I mentioned, I've had my passport since I was 3 years old.
mm.
Let me say that one more time. 3 years old. Just want to make sure that people hear me, right? And so,
Yes, 3 years.
no worries, no worries. And so, um, I've been doing this for a while, and most of the men have been doing this for a while. Whether they were in the military, whether they just they just decided to seek a different culture and expound and things of that sort. What people got to remember is that I believe there's 195 or 196 countries in the whole entire world. So why would anyone,
Mhm.
men and or women, be subjected to just staying in one country? Why not go out and explore?
Very, very, very true. And like you said, now people don't realize, like, globalization is just really a big thing, and we interact with everyone so much. That's a big part of just history. People often don't know. That's why when wars start to break out, like we have so many allies and things like that, that
Mhm.
it would be a world war if we were to have a big dispute with particular countries and things like that. So, taking that into account, yeah, you should probably get to know a little bit about the other places around you, and learn a little bit about the people there and things like that, so that you can just be more self-aware. That just makes sense to me. Hopefully, it makes sense to people that are watching also. And like you said, some people go there for to find love. And I think with the Passport Bros, a lot of it gets a bad a bad statement because they say, oh, they're looking for love and it's all these different things, but not everyone. But of course, if you go somewhere else and there's attractive people, that you may have interactions with them, and that's just, that just makes sense. So, we don't want to think everyone's going somewhere to just find that, attraction to women or men, but it is something that happens. And if you do find someone you care about and you want to be with, that's a plus side to going out of the country also. So I'm
Yeah,
gonna put that.
oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I just had to put that out there.
Oh yeah. No, yeah, just to piggyback off of your statement. I completely agree. And I mean, yeah, like if a man and or a woman, if they're single and they want to explore their options, why not? I mean, as I mentioned, right? Families from Jamaica, and I know a lot of ladies like to go to Jamaica, which is cool, no
Mhm.
problem at all. And I know one of the talking points, what right now is the big four, and the big four would be Dominican Republic, Colombia, Thailand, and Brazil, right?
Mhm.
And well, when it comes to guys, so some ladies, but typically it's really the guys that are, and the new age, if you will, like the up and comer, passport guys, are starting to travel to those like four places really. And and some of them, some of them are looking, they're single men looking to have fun. Most are really going to explore. Most of them are, have already something established there. And then there are some that may actually get into a serious relationship and or marriage and relocate.
Right. And that's a very big thing now. So let me ask you this, because we're going to get
Sure.
into relationships now.
Hmm.
Okay. So since we're talking about Americans going over there, do you believe that when Americans do go over to another country, that it kind of, since they're seen as the what, like the 10%, so depending on who it is, but in the 10 percentile of available bachelors, do you think that that kind of distorts the people who are already there? What did those men who already live there have to offer now that there's other men coming over with a lot more men, let's say, are coming over more frequently, who have a different status. Basically, it's like having a whole bunch of no, I'm not even going to say millionaires, but a whole bunch of financially stable men come over to your country. And how do you think those men compete at that point?
Well, and that's a great question, right? So, well, the thing is that in these countries, the women outnumber the men significantly. So, I believe, so I could speak for like Colombia. I believe the women outnumber the men. I believe it's 3-1,
Hmm.
or yeah. So outnumber the men 3-1. So, and then also, even with the uptick of men traveling, there's still a small percentage of Americans as a whole that travel. So let me break it down to some stats and statistics, right? So 72% of Americans either live or relocate no less or no more than 250 miles from where they're born. So that's about 4 to 5 hours, right?
Mhm.
So out of those 72%, right? So we're talking, so we're talking 772, so 70, so we're talking 28%. So we're talking 28% of people, that may travel, and most of that 28% that travel are actually women. So
Mhm.
with the men, let's say the men are maybe about 10%, and then the other 18% are women, right? So when you break all that math down, you still have those men in those particular countries where they are still not being affected by men
Mhm.
coming from abroad, uh, over there to deal with their women. Also, because it's 3-1, it's only 10% of men, right?
Mhm.
That travel, And so out of those 10% of men, let's just say, maybe uh 2% just want to be single and have fun. So you break it down, so it's really 8% of men that are going there. So the women are still outnumbering the men. And I know I kind of just did a lot of math there, but for all of y'all, you may have to rewatch this. But
Yeah.
but the whole point of what I'm trying to get at is that the men in these countries are not affected by the men from the states
Hmm.
or different parts of the West, so United States, Canada, United Kingdom, Australia, like New Zealand, like they're not being affected by the men that are coming there because these men already have their women. And interestingly enough, this is not a statistics, but when when the men actually befriends the locals are eager, especially like if you're cool, they are eager to actually introduce, to whether it be their sister, their niece, their aunt, or what have you. Like if you're a great guy, and they can tell like you are a man that takes yourself seriously,
Hmm.
they're going to introduce you.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, so it's not like, hey, what are you doing here? Like, you're just gonna take all of our women, like, what, you know what I mean? Like, no, we are welcomed with open arms.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
as long
And
as long as long as you remain humble, like if you like if you're one of those like one of those what we call a passport pookie type of, which is someone, someone that's just like ignorant, and you come in there and you're inside the nightclub and you're like on the couch and you're throwing money in the air, or just basically doing stuff that you do in the United States that should stay in the United States.
okay.
Like, yeah, so keep that in the United States. So anyone, if you're that type of person, you you are considered what we call in the travel community a passport pookie, and we do not associate with passport pookies.
Okay. No, no passport pookies. You don't want that.
No, no,
Mm-mm.
because the thing is that like when you're outside of the states, people, I mean, you already have an inadvertent target on your back, so you don't want to draw any more attention to yourself than what than what it already is. Like people, for the most part, people can tell that you are from the United States. Not all the time, but in some cases people can tell that you are from the United States. So you don't want to draw too much attention to yourself. You don't want to wear, the big Rolex. You don't want to wear like the big chain. You know what I mean? Like, just,
Right.
yeah, just remain humble, respect the people, respect the culture, and they'll love you, and you won't have any problem. But if you put yourself out there as a target, then you will get targeted.
Okay. What was it? And I,
You
and
know?
I I know you had recently. I'm sorry. Um, I know recently you had maybe made a video that said something about what the don'ts to do when you're out of the country.
Yes,
So
correct.
you had some information for people who did want to go outside, and like you said, one of the big things I noticed is because you're American, you don't realize it. Like we're very very gaudy. Like we like to show off a lot of things. Other
Hmm.
countries they don't really do that. And when you go out, they're not wearing like all this crazy amounts of money and just running around like that. And so you're like you said, you're putting a target on your back to cause people to maybe want to do something harmful to you or associate you with being very boasty. It's just not something you want to do. So be clear of
Right.
that. Um, yeah,
Yeah.
they're just not like that. And yeah, look up stuff about the country you go where you go to before you go there. It's
Yeah.
very important, and the laws, of course,
Yes.
please.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. I'm glad that you mentioned the laws because there were a few, there were a few brothers that actually got arrested in Thailand. What people don't know is that when you're throwing money in the air, first of all, you shouldn't be throwing money in the air in the States. You shouldn't be doing that anyway. You should be investing your money, right? I digress, but let me get back to the story. So there was these there was these brothers. They were in Thailand. So the I believe it's the prince of Thailand, or is it the king? I can't remember if it's the prince or the king, but it's royalty, and his face is on the currency, the Thai baht. They call it Thai baht. That's their currency.
Okay.
So so when the money, so if the money hits the floor, that's basically disrespecting the king or the prince. So when you do that, these guys actually got in trouble. So these guys actually got arrested for that, and not knowing, as you mentioned, you really need to Google and learn the laws. And I'm all for people traveling, but if you are not willing to do your due diligence, and let's say, hey, you know what, you don't know the laws, well, I mean, YouTube is there. YouTube is so much of a good resource. All you have to do is type in Thailand. You'll find someone that's in Thailand. You type in Colombia, someone that has been to Colombia, someone that
Mhm.
lives in Colombia. Dominican Republic. I could go on and on and on. But the thing is that, like, all you have to do, if you don't want to look on YouTube, then Google, the laws.
Yes, please. It's so
But yeah,
important.
but do your due diligence. Like, you don't want to get in trouble outside of the United States if you can avoid it.
Absolutely, absolutely not. We see so many examples of that in the news. Even even people who believe they're above the law. NBA players and all kinds of things. They will get in
Oh
trouble
boy.
still. It doesn't even matter. It doesn't matter how famous you are. You're going to be held accountable. And especially since you're
Mhm.
American, they also think that you think you're above everything else. So they automatically are probably going to be a little bit harder on you anyway. So just be aware of that. And so
Mm.
now, like I said, when you're out there, so let's say someone does go out there, because like I said, we're all about relationships. You want to know what the scene looks out there like. So we're going to start talking about the dating scene and kind of like
Mhm.
what that looks like. As you can see, Italian Stallion, thank you for coming in today. And also, is it Where's Men's Looks
Yep.
magazine?
Yep. Yep.
Okay,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, shout out to Italian
yeah,
Stallion
Stallion
and
wanted to know about.
where's Mint? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just repeating what you were saying.
I was shouting out
um,
Italian Stallion, and then where's Ms. Lux magazine. That's all.
awesome. Yes. So I do want to ask this because yeah, Stallion always wants to hear about lifestyles, which is different out there in the world. But we know
Mhm.
that poly and open lifestyles, alternative lifestyles, are in other locations. So, what did you see when you went out into just like I guess, the nightlife? What is out there for some people who may be interested in going out there for maybe to find a relationship?
Now, we talking like poly, or are we talking like all of the above? What are we talking?
All of the above. What does it look
Oh,
like when
okay.
we're here in the dating scene out here in Colombia? We'll use Colombia since you've been
Yeah. So in Colombia, in Colombia, as I mentioned, um, like the one thing what I will say is that when a woman is interested in you, like usually like in the West, like sometimes like a woman will like kind of like look at you and they kind of like look away, kind of like being like a little shy. In Colombia, if they're interested, they look directly at you, like they're like this, like looking dead at you. And like
Oh, okay.
yeah, they and like they usually won't say, the woman won't say anything to you, but like they'll give you what I would call like a choosing signal, basically. Stare at you. Woman flips her hair, whatever, and you have the opportunity to talk to her. What I would just say is that, like, um, these women for the most part don't really play any games, which I like. They they respect transparency, and just be transparent with them. As long as you're transparent with them, um, you'll be fine. So let's say Italian styling, he mentioned like alternative lifestyle. So if if you go to a woman and you say, hey, listen, like, I want, I want to be with you and another woman, tell her right away so that this way she knows exactly what's going on. Don't engage in a relationship or try to get into a relationship with her when you have the mindset that you want to be with more than one woman. So it's better
Mm,
it's better to nip that in the bud early. Let this woman know early so she can make that decision, because the last thing you want to do is you're with this woman for a while, this woman ends up falling in love with you, and then you try to spring, and then you try to bring another woman in. Like, all that's going to do is cause more harm than good, and you may end up trying to bring the other woman in, and you may end up losing both women. So
oh,
you don't want to do that. You don't want to do that. So start from early. If that's what you want to do, start from early, right? So,
yeah.
nip it in the bud. Let this woman know, hey, listen, this is what I do. This is the type of, this is the lane that I'm going down. So this way you're not blindsiding her or blindsiding the other woman.
Okay, okay.
Yeah,
That makes a lot of sense. And since I know that you're not into poly and things like that, but like I said, you've been out there, you've dated obviously people from other countries.
sure.
And when you're engaging in this kind of interaction, since they are foreign, foreign customs to us, do you see that there's anything different between how you approach the woman other than that signal that you would have to do? Is there something like you think that they would like to hear from you? Like here we like to hear, how much you make, they do all that. Is there
Mhm.
something that they're particularly looking for?
Well, what I would just say is that just make sure just make sure that make sure that you're polite. Like if you're at the mall, or you're at the mall or something, you happen to uh see a beautiful woman and she walks past, you just walk up to her, just say hello, how you doing, um introduce yourself, ask her what her name is. Usually that doesn't necessarily happen like that, only because usually how the men and women how they become like in a relationship, someone usually introduces them like, hey, this is my
Mm,
cousin, this is my brother, this is my sister, this is my friend, what have you. So but cold approach does work, especially for the people from the west, whether you're Canada, United States, or United Kingdom. But just remain friendly. um definitely keep that eye contact, smile, make sure that you engage in conversation, and once you get her phone number, make sure that you have a plan.
okay.
And also, yeah, and also, like, I know, like, sometimes in the states, and guys will kind of understand this. It's a bit of a chess match sometimes, with guys, right? Because it's like, hey, you know what? Like, if I text her right away, she might think like I'm like, I'm too thirsty, if you will. Like, no, you could text her the same day, and right away.
Yeah.
Like, if if the woman is not interested in you, she's not going to give you her number,
Okay.
unless, yeah, unless this is a woman that's a working woman, if you will. You all can read in between the lines there. But if this is a regular woman, regular job, you know, she's either she has a boyfriend, husband, or she's just not interested in getting to know you. But she will let you know if she's not interested.
Okay. Okay. So that's good to know. So when I also want to ask is just a compound on that because especially if I don't the tough guy act, does that go over well? Like trying to act very hard, maybe be overly loud, or trying to
No.
boast. That's a no go, or are the ladies
Yeah.
responding?
No, that's a no go. I'm glad that you mentioned that. So like being like overtly boisterous, that doesn't work. Um, typically Colombians are very like low key kind of people. I mean, like, yeah, when they like get like around like people they know or their family or whatever, you know how it is. But the thing is, like in public, they're low key. So like if you're a guy and you walk up to a woman, you like, hey yo, shorty, no, that's not gonna work. You know what I mean? That's not gonna work. Like they're gonna be like, what? Yeah, no, like yeah. So they're gonna be the ladies are gonna be immediately turned off, and even if she thinks that you're handsome, she's not gonna like that. She's not gonna
Okay,
like that. Yeah, she's not gonna like that. She's gonna be turned off, and then also you don't you don't have to put on this tough guy act. Like if you are a masculine man, you should be comfortable in your skin no matter where you are in the world, whether you're in the States, abroad, or whatever. And you just, what I believe is no matter where you are, like a woman can feel a man's aura if and she can tell if this man is truly masculine or not.
okay,
So you don't have to put on this tough guy facade. and and also one of the you know when you all right. Oh, continue talking. Okay, got it. All right. So when it comes to especially when it comes to melanated men, like we we um we are exotic to we are exotic to them. So like
hmm,
we have a leg up already. So it's really like, don't f this up. You know what I mean? So like
right,
you're pretty much good to go, but don't f it up. You know what I mean? Because like they see us, they see us on TV,
right.
and it's like, oh, we got this black guy from America, and they know, like, if you're able to come to their country, you have some means about you. So that's what I'm saying. Like, you don't have to come, with the big watch and the big chain, and you don't have to wear like a Gucci or Fendi everywhere. You know what I mean? You don't have to do all that.
Absolutely. They
You
don't
don't
got
have
to
to do
shine
all
everywhere.
that. Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
And that's really good to
Oh,
know. Like you said, you hear me good? Okay.
oh yeah, yeah.
So,
I hear you good. I was just gonna add this one last point. So when you say so when you say like tough, like, well, I guess acting like macho, what have you. So they have what's called a machismo, and the ladies, like, well, one of the reasons why, like, women tend to go for like black American men is because some of the men in the country, in their countries, whether it be Dominican Republic, Colombia, Brazil, or whatever, some of the
mhm.
guys act a bit too macho.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, so some of the guys act a bit too like macho, and that turns the woman off. You know what I mean?
Right, right.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, like you don't and I think they even here I mean here it's a little different. Some women actually they find that attractive when you put that on. A lot of some and there are a good portion of women who like someone to go above and beyond with that little bit of aggression. And it's a turn on here, just most well a good portion of women, but in other places actually it's not looked at in this favoritive way.
Right.
It's
Right.
not what we want. So absolutely. Now, when we're out here, I'm saying we because it could be women too, like you said, we all travel. Is it weird for a woman to approach a man then?
Yeah, I mean, usually the women don't approach men. Yeah, the women don't approach men. Like, as I mentioned, like what they'll do is they'll they'll just kind of like they'll just stare at you. They'll stare at you. They'll make sure like that they get eye contact with you, and then you as the man will go and approach them. So
Okay.
yeah, so the woman don't really approach you. And again, like if a woman is approaching you, that's typically a red flag because that's not really
Oh,
a regular girl. That's
okay.
you know,
Okay. Yeah, I do
yeah,
know. I do know.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah, yeah.
and,
Yeah,
and I'm
yeah,
glad you
she's
had
looking for
that
some resources. She's looking for some resources. You know what I mean?
way. I
Yeah.
mean, that's very true. And I'm glad you kind of went that way. So now let's just say, and I'm not trying to say we're promoting this, but we
Mhm,
know there
mhm.
are some areas in certain places where,
Right.
the red light districts, obviously the laws are
Mhm,
not the same here. If someone wanted to have a safer experience with ladies, um, but still have that experience with the clubs and things like that. Like you can see the little red light districts and things like that if you want to go
mhm,
down that way.
mhm.
Um, is there any particular things they should do? I'm not saying you would know, maybe you overheard it from someone else, but
Yeah. Um.
what are some things they should do if they would like to, just be around a lot of ladies and they're entertaining them at a bar or something like
So what? So the safest. So the safest place would be like to go to what's called a casa.
that? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So that would be a casa is more like a casa is kind of like a like the what is it called? I think the Bunny Ranch in Nevada, in Reno,
Oh,
I
okay.
believe it is. Yeah,
Okay.
so so you have like casas like um all over. It could be could be Mexico, it could be Dominican Republic, could be Colombia. So this way, like you're going into these places. Um, these women are getting these women are getting tested for you know, making
Things.
sure like everything is up and running and everything is, safe, right?
Yes. Right.
So
Okay.
yeah. So they have places where guys can go into as opposed to you just meeting a woman on the street.
Okay,
So
yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
right.
And I do say this because, like you said, we here, Miss Polly right channel. I know I have a lot of lifestylers here, and they do enjoy going to parties and lifestyle parties
Mhm.
and things like that. And when they do go to other countries, sometimes they like to enjoy, meeting ladies and things like that. And but they want to be respectful to the culture too. They don't want to walk into a regular bar and just expect that maybe this isn't a regular bar and
Right.
be confused. So you want to make sure that they know where they can go to have an experience that they enjoy
Yeah.
and can do that in a safe manner.
Right.
So I mean, I have seen some other locations where they do, like you said, they make sure that girls are tested, or there's different things you can do, and then you'll pay whatever, even just to hang out, or you're paying for drinks, or maybe a private area, and your friends have a little, I don't know whether like a VIP section or whatever it is that they
Hmm.
provide, and then they
Hmm.
have those areas, so you can do something safe and do that way. Like you said, you don't want to be on just a regular street. Hey guys, pardon me. You don't want to go out here on the regular street and just assume that someone's in a short skirt and a mini top, and then that they're open as they're soliciting, because you could obviously disrespect someone, and so we don't want anyone to get the wrong idea when they go out there, that if someone is dressed a little bit more provocatively or something like that, that you automatically think that they are,
Right.
like I said, things they shouldn't be doing.
Right.
So,
Yeah. Yeah.
what
Yeah.
is behind
Yeah.
that?
Yeah, no, yeah, I completely understand what you're getting at. So, yeah, I mean, now, if you like, if you're like in a red light district area, to typically, if you're walking around, these women will come up to you and and mention that, like as I mentioned, they will approach you. So they will approach you. But the reason why they're approaching you is because they want to make money, right? So they'll approach you. Now, if you are a man that's looking for that, I would say that the safest bet is to go to what's called a casa, which is basically like
A
you know,
brothel or something.
yes, basically, right. I,
Mm,
I was trying to say it without saying it, but yeah, you know,
you gotta
yeah.
say.
Well, I see. I'm trying to preface my comments because I don't know how much I can say on here.
You're doing great. So, like, yeah, because I always put everyone, what you know, I always put is not for children under 18 on purpose because I know that our conversations are kind of meant for a more mature audience
Right.
anyway.
Yeah.
But yes, obviously want to keep some words out of our vocabulary.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely, absolutely,
but
and
yeah,
then also you mentioned like with the lifestyle, so they do have clubs for lifestyle, and I think Italian Stallion mentioned that. Yeah,
yes,
so in Cali, Colombia, they actually have like a big like lifestyle kind of area, not area, but I guess you would call it area or community. Community is actually the word I'm looking for. A big lifestyle community where like they have like their own events, and so you can walk into these particular venues and like everything is all good. you know so it's not like you're
okay,
walking into yeah, so if you're into the lifestyle and you walk into a regular nightclub and you see two beautiful ladies and you like, hey, like let's have fun, and they're like, no, this ain't that type of thing, right? You know what I mean? A regular nightclub, I'm saying. But if you go into
right.
a lifestyle, like a swingers, type of event or club, then yeah, you'll be good. And in Cali, Colombia, they have that. I think they have that in Medellin too. I just don't know because I just haven't been, but
Yeah,
I've heard about Cali, Colombia.
absolutely. And that's the thing, I was, with the style, always he always talks about
Hmm.
going to some of these parties. But I'll take a moment here and say thank you, Eve Black, for coming and joining us. It's awesome to see you. Miss Nebraska, Knowledge and Relationships, M3,
M3's in the
Mr.
building.
Best. Yes, thank you guys for stopping by and chatting with us.
E
Uh,
Black is in the building.
Absolutely, absolutely. Love to see him when he comes by. And you know, I think at this point, like you said, like a lot of people are just in a place where they're a little bit nervous when they meet people from other places, and even when they meet them here, and then they go back home. So when you've been out, like you said, let's talk about this. We're still talking about relationships here, but when it comes to money, we want to get a little bit more detail with that.
Okay.
So if you are down in the red district, are we more of a cash place, a card place? Do we need to carry mostly cash, or do we need to? I mean, what is the best way to, maybe like even facilitate a date? Even like, do we need to carry more cash? Do we need to have a debit card? Do we need to set up some kind of, cash app? I don't know. What do we do?
Um. Well, from what I've heard is that I believe that there are some places that just take cash, and then there are some places that take both. So what I would recommend is bringing both. But what I would say is, before you do all that, before you do all that, talk to someone who has been in that area. Sorry, who has been in like those casas, just to find out. Now we talking casas, or we talking the lifestyle parties?
Well, I
or
mean, like
both?
if we were just gonna be going out to eat, or like if we were gonna go on a date with a lady, or if we were going
Oh,
down,
okay, okay,
what
okay,
what
okay,
do we
okay.
do? Yeah, what's our money? So what do we
Ah,
do with our
okay,
finances?
okay, okay. Yeah, sorry about that. That completely flew over my head. My bad. Okay. Well, what I would say is, well, first things first. Before you leave your hotel or Airbnb, just figure out where you're gonna go, and then also make sure that like you're bringing enough money to go out to like said location. Don't bring all of your money with you. So it's good to have cash and a credit card. I would not bring my debit card. I would bring a credit card.
Okay,
Um,
okay,
but yeah, so because you could use your credit card, we could use that as a tax write off, right? Um,
well, that is good to know. Like that.
well, I mean, yeah, it's I mean, so that would be another stream, but as far as like managing your money, yeah. So listen, I like I'd rather earn more and spend less.
True.
So
Now, yeah,
so
exactly.
yeah,
So
so
you might want to have a little bit of a plan. You're saying like for this, if your strategy when you take your finances down there to even like you said, get some kind of credit towards your trip. Like you said, you can use some fees that you get from your rentals to pay for trips, but also you might want to get some tax write-offs if you're going and doing something with your business to
yeah,
say that that's connected.
right.
Absolutely.
Right, exactly. So let's just say, let's say like a guy meets a beautiful woman, ends up spending the day out with her, and throughout the day, let's say they eat maybe like, let's say they eat twice, right? They eat twice, and so um both places he uses his credit card. When you get, you can use that as a tax write-off. But you do want to, carry cash on you as well, because let's just say that you end up going to like one of like those like small little shops and something like that, where they don't take credit card. So you can use some of your pesos to get
Yeah.
stuff there. But
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, and that's a good thing. Like you said, like you want to be reasonable. You don't want to take all your cash. You don't want to be too flashy. But I know a lot of places you
Yeah,
carry money.
that too.
So would you say, okay, let's say I want to have a good party out here. I'm going for my birthday, and I do want to turn up.
Hmm.
I do want to get a little wild. I do want to buy 7 bottles because I can at this juncture.
Sure.
Is that a little bit too much, or you think that's still a reasonable thing to do?
I mean, well, it depends on who's all going. It depends on who's all going. The last time. So one of the last times that I went to Colombia, like I ended up getting 8 bottles, but it was like a bunch of us, right? So
Hmm.
right, so I have 3 people that drive me around. One of them is my very good friend. And then also another one of my boys, he does tattoos.
Hmm.
His wife is actually like the VIP bottle girl. So
Hmm.
she's cool. So like, yeah, so I like, again, I go there 6 8 times a year, so I'm very immersed with like people who live there and locals. So
Hmm.
then we also had other travelers who was there. So like I rented out the biggest VIP. So I want to say it was probably like maybe like in total, maybe about like almost 15 of us in total. 50,
Oh,
maybe,
okay.
yeah, maybe 20. Yeah, but so yeah, so like we had 8 bottles, but we like handing out shots to people, handing out shots to the DJs. We all had a great time, but like we weren't like standing up and like just like pouring liquor, like how like some people just be pouring drinks just on people, or shaking the champagne bottle and spraying the crowd. Like, nah, we wasn't doing any of that stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you could, yeah, you can have fun and pop your bottles, but don't be like, don't be too braggadocious about it. You know what I mean? Don't be too
Right.
braggadocious, because like, yeah, because again, like there was some expats there, some people who lived there. There were some
Hmm.
people who were traveling, and then there were some locals. So all of us were all mixed in together, and we were all, all hanging out, everyone having a great time. And yeah, you can do that. Just as long as like, just as long as like you're not like walking around the club like, just with this bottle, and you just like, spraying everyone in the club with the bottle. Like, yeah, like you're gonna run into some trouble.
We don't want that.
No, you don't want that. You don't want that at all.
Okay.
My bad.
Now, okay,
My bad.
so
I'm trying not to make
now,
you laugh,
so
but
go ahead.
no, I said I'm trying not to make you laugh because I know you got a cough and stuff.
Now let's. I know I'm trying. I'm trying not to
Go ahead,
go.
yo. Come on,
Oh
man.
yeah, and I apologize, guys. My bronchitis has been like it's good. I'm getting better at antibiotics, but sometimes too much air in is just like, oh god.
Mm-hmm.
But now, like I just said, with dating, obviously, I appreciate all the tips, like you said, for us going out here.
Mm-hmm.
What's it like? Now, have you seen it? Now, let's say we're getting into a serious relationship with someone.
Mm-hmm.
Are we meeting parents fairly quickly? Are we? What do you think the process is differently for people in Colombia than it is in America per se?
Mm. That's a great question. So I would say probably like the timeline would probably be about maybe about maybe about 4 to 6 months.
Mm,
Maybe about 4 to 6 months where you're meeting the parents. But again, every situation is different. So I'll speak on my situation. So for me, I was with a woman for about 3 years. She and I broke up last year in August. And so I met her parents probably about 6 months. Yeah, about 6 months after she and I were dating, and in a serious relationship. Well, once things started getting serious and we established that we wanted to be in a relationship, right? Like committed relationship.
okay.
And so that's when I met her parents. So I mean, every timeline is different. But what I will say is that once you do meet the parents, that relationship is serious, and you need to take
Oh,
that serious.
okay.
Yeah,
Write that
because especially like the woman, the woman over there hold their father in high regard. So if the father does not like you, you're going to have a problem.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And also like the father is, the father is hip. The father knows that, like, he knows that his daughter's attractive, and guys are, trying to talk to, date his daughter and things like that. And then also, you coming from the United States, it's gonna raise an eyebrow, because it's like, okay, like, are you just here to just have fun
Mm,
with my daughter, or are you really gonna take this serious?
right.
And if you, yeah, exactly, and if you're gonna be taking it seriously, you have to let that man know, like, hey, listen, like, I'm really gonna take this seriously. And that's one of the reasons why, like, I was going back pretty much like almost every other month, because I wanted to show how serious I was. Because, like, if I say, oh, I'm only going there twice a year, if I'm, me as a man, if I had a daughter, I'm like, oh, okay, so this guy is basically, you're basically his side chick. That's
Oh,
what I would
no.
tell my daughter.
Okay. No, no, no. We don't want that. Okay.
Yeah, no,
So, yeah.
yeah, but I'm saying, like, and I'm sure other men that are watching can attest to this. If they have daughters, or if they, if they did have a daughter, and to find out that their daughter's boyfriend is only coming, twice a year, that's a problem.
Yeah.
You can't, yeah, you can't do that now. Now, like, understandably so, like, if you say, hey, you know what, like, I can't, I can't, like live here at this particular moment. I got things going on, whatever the case is, cool. But you at least got to make an effort. Like, you at least got to be there, like, at least 6 times a year, at least 6 times a year, so that this way, like, the father is not just seeing you once or twice and he's like, yeah, you could do better.
Okay, so if you're getting into this long distance relationship, and we're not talking just a couple hours, a couple states, um,
Well, a
you,
couple of countries.
yeah, you definitely want you definitely want to make sure that if you're going to get into a serious relationship, that there is some going to be a plan of some sort of
Yeah.
if, traveling, who's coming where, at least especially in a more serious relationship, um, whatever that looks like. So when since you had an experience already, like you said, long term, do you
Mhm.
think there was any pressure about making a commitment faster than here? Was there a commitment? Because a lot of guys are like, I want to go there and have a good time, but since these women are they more traditional or are they more modern? Are they going to be okay with dating me for, like you said, 3 or 4 years, or are they looking for marriage after a year? Like, where are we at?
Um, I would say that's another good question. I would say probably like after year two, that's when, like, the questions will start to come about.
Mm, okay.
But as far as feeling any pressure, um, I can only speak for myself. I didn't feel any pressure. I I was of the mindset. Oh, you made me big. Okay, cool. I was
Just
of
for
the
a second.
mindset that I was of the mindset that, like, I knew what I wanted, right? So I had it in my mind that this was the woman that I wanted to be with at that particular point in time. Um, Obviously, things didn't happen the way that I wanted it to, but, like, it is what it is. But there was no pressure. I didn't think about, like, oh, well, you know what? I need to get on the ball now, because if I don't marry her at this particular time, it's never going to happen. No. I had it set in my mind, like, I want to marry her or propose at this particular time, and then we would set everything up for us to get married. But, like, I already had it set in my mind, so there was no pressure for me.
Okay.
And yeah, because but again, every situation is different, because shout out to my man, Love, Purpose, and Passports.
Mhm.
And um he married his he married his Afro Dominicana um after 7 years of being in a relationship.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, but that's their dynamic. So every dynamic is different, right? So
Of course, yeah.
yeah,
Well, I mean, the reason why I ask, because one of the big things I noticed, here, it depends on your age too. But when we're saying like mid 20s and in our 30s, mid 30s, between there, when you're dating, even here in America, there is a pressure to kind of know what you're doing after about a year, maybe two, where women are like, okay, what we doing? And like you said, could be because we're getting closer to where you're thinking, okay, am I having children with this people or this person? And so here there is a little bit of pressure, I think, for men to figure out what we're doing. Would you say you feel that that's true? Then if it was somewhere else, maybe.
Well, I would say it depends. It depends on how old the man is, like, where he's at in his life. I always recommend that men should probably really not, like, start dating seriously until they are around, like, their mid 30s. I would say the sweet spot is between, like, 34 and 36.
Hmm.
Only because, like, men, we have time to kind of make our mistakes, and kind of fall on our face in our 20s and things like that. So we have time, but I would say around the mid 30 mark, that's where it's like, okay, you know what, like you want a family, so you have made the mistakes. Now you should be ready to be in a position in order to care for a wife and be able to provide for your child or children.
Okay. Okay.
So
And
yeah, pressure. Sorry, just to add, um, pressure. Um, I mean, I think I think that's a loaded question in a sense, because I think that it really goes down to the family. I don't think it goes down to more or less. Well, I guess society too. So I guess to answer your question, there's going to be pressure no matter where you're at. Really, no matter where you're at. People from the outside looking in, like, oh, because um like a guy's mom could be like, I want some grandbabies, or her father could be like, man, when you gonna have some grandbabies? You know what I mean? So like, you
yeah,
just never know. You just never know. Like it all just depends. It all just depends, right? Um,
absolutely,
yeah.
absolutely.
But what I would say though, I would say like the sweet spot, if you will, would be maybe between like that 2.5 to 4 year mark.
Okay.
I don't think that like going past. And again, shout out to Love Purpose and Passports. He and his wife, like 7 years. I mean, they did it. They did it. They tied the knot. But I would say kind of like after like the 2 year mark, like it's time to start getting ready. Because if you don't know at that particular time, then you need to move on. That's just my thought
Okay.
process.
Okay.
That's just my thought process.
Okay. That's fair.
Yeah. So like after
Okay.
after that
That's
2 year mark, yeah. So I'm not saying 2 years in a month you have to propose, but you should have it in your mind, like, okay, like I'm thinking about, like, okay, I'm gonna get this ring, and I'm going to plan my proposal. I'm going to ask her father, or if her father isn't alive, her grandfather, any male that she holds in high regard, who's a father figure to her. You want to get his blessing to ask her hand in marriage.
okay. Okay. That's fair. Okay. So we'll say it goes back to a little bit more traditional um
Hmm.
means in that fashion. Not everybody, I'm sure there's not everybody in Colombia is doing it this way, but you want to be respectful. And if you maybe want to ask too, maybe you want to ask if that particular person's family is more traditional. But just taking those steps to prep is very important, obviously.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
yeah. Now, do you think that there's an expectation for Americans to be able to provide better for these women um, from the family?
Yes.
Okay. And that just
Um.
makes sense. Yeah, like you said, like they
Oh,
don't expect you to come there and maybe if you went there and you went there young and then you decided you weren't going to be working in America, you're not going back, and then you turn into a a farmer, I don't know, or you start working at one of the clubs, your income will be changing also, and you'll be just like everyone else in the income bracket. Is that something you think that it would not be expected? They would expect you
no,
to
no, and you wouldn't. I'm sorry, I'm hearing the echo, but um, yeah, yeah, men, you wouldn't even want that for yourself, because even an average salary, like if you're making, let's say, 40, 45 annually, you're still going to be like in the top 10% earning in that country. So you're still going to be doing well. So you don't want to be earning the same currency as the people there. Like, even if you're just a single person, you're going to be miserable. So having a wife and children to take care of, you don't want to put yourself behind the eight ball. So
and yeah, I absolutely agree. You don't want to do that. And I will ask this too also. If you were to, like you say, like you're gonna go down there and you make sure you know that your expectations are with maybe possibly having a family will be that you're going to provide probably well for your family. How do they look at separation and divorce there? Just yeah, I mean, I know you may not know, but like, do you know anything about that? Like, how does that look like?
The question was about divorce.
Yes, like how does that divorce or separation look like? Is that a very frowned on thing or?
It is it is definitely frowned upon. So like typically they don't have like no fault divorce. Like if a woman just, like if a woman or a man wants to divorce his wife, like, you know what, I just don't want to be with you no more, so that's that. No, it doesn't work like that. No, you like, unless it's like something like severe, where it could be life threatening or whatever the case is, then okay. But like when you marry that person, you are stuck with that person like glue. You know what I mean? So, that's a real commitment. Um Now when it comes to divorce also, like if let's say like, um you end up, you end up going to Colombia and you end up marrying a Colombian man, and coming into the marriage, you were making 1 million a year, right? So, you're gonna, whatever money that you both made together in that marriage, then you guys would split, but you would be able to keep your 1 million. So it's not like here in the States where, like, if where you would have to pay him alimony. So this is another reason why brothers are, are looking, are getting married abroad.
Okay. Okay, so there are some different, obviously, some different things that come with when you're divorcing. When you get married, there's some different laws. So, like you said, it's very important to look up these
Yeah,
things when you're
yeah, yeah.
making decisions somewhere else.
Yeah, so just a disclaimer. This is just the country of Colombia. So every other country is different. I'm only speaking on the country of Colombia.
Okay, and then we will ask this now. I'm trying to go progressively, like we're just dating, and then we go to marriage and things like that. But I have to go back because I forgot one of our very important questions.
Sure.
At least so I know my viewers. Okay, so when we're engaging with ladies, we're going on dates. Do you believe that sex is not? We're just going to talk about over there. It doesn't matter if it's here or not. In Colombia, do you think that people, men or women, are easier to have sexual interactions, or is it more difficult to have sexual interactions with people um, there? Like some people, like, okay, I meet them a first date sex experience here. Even here, we know people do it fairly quickly. Is that common or is not common? Is it common to be like, I meet you maybe a couple dates in? Like, what do you think is more common there?
Well, this is what I will say, and I want to make sure that people preface my comments, because y'all not gonna do what y'all did to Austin Holloman, do what y'all did to me. So when I say easy, so don't try to be to me here. But this is what I will say. So due to the fact that, on a serious note, so due to the fact that, where, as I mentioned earlier, like, a woman's not going to give you her phone number or go out on a date with you, unless she's truly interested in really getting to know you and date you. So, the approach with that with that intact does make the sexual encounter easier, because as a man, that this woman is interacting with you, hanging out with you, because she genuinely likes you. So, um, so therefore, the sexual, interaction is going to be easier, as opposed to, here in the States where you may not know, because some women will say, yeah, I'll go out with you, because they want to go to a certain place, or they may want to eat at a certain restaurant. They never tried that restaurant before. And so, you're thinking that everything is all good. Next thing you know, you end up getting ghosted. So I would say abroad, the transparency is more. So in essence, it's easier.
And like I said, I'll kind of wrap. So just in general, you correct me if I'm incorrect. But
Sure.
you're saying because women are more direct and in what they're going to want or initially need, that they're going to, it's going to be easier because of the fact that you already know what the intentions is, that you like this person, you would like to get to know them more. It's not like sometimes when you go here and you'll date someone, that then they'll tell you second date in that they have a 90-day rule. It wouldn't be that kind of situation.
Yeah,
Right. Okay.
yeah.
I'm just, just hearing
Yeah, there's
examples.
no, yeah, there's no 90-day rule.
Okay. That's a little
Yeah,
different. Yeah,
yeah,
that is,
yeah, yeah. Also, fellas, let me tell you something. If a woman gives you a 90-day rule, leave, because there's no way that this woman made every guy who she had some sexual encounter with that waited 90 days. Do not be a simp like that. Don't play yourself, man. Don't do it.
Okay. Sorry, I was trying to get rid of that echo, guys. If you hear it, I apologize.
No,
Okay,
no
so I
worries.
know I didn't want to go too long with this live. I really appreciate you for coming on here this evening. But in general, how do you feel about Colombia compared to America? And what I mean by that is, do you feel like the relationships and connections that you make there are something that you value, so much more than here? I'm not saying we dislike it here either, but would you say the relationships and the connections and the way people move there are something that you come to value and like and desire, and more than here? If so, and is there anything else you want to share about it that you find unique with us before we wrap it up?
Well, first of all, I just want to say thank you for having me. Definitely appreciate you having me on your platform. Definitely was a great interview. What I would say is this. So when it comes to like um, relationships, whether it be friendships or romantic, the transparency abroad, I don't want to just mention like Colombia, but I would say the transparency abroad from what I have experienced, is more genuine. People, people aren't trying to play games. People aren't really trying to finesse, or and things of that sort. So people are straightforward, and you may not necessarily like some of the things of what people are trying to say, but the thing is that I respect transparency, and I respect people being straightforward. That's just me, and I have tough skin, so I have no problem with that. um I would say that it's beneficial in that manner, because you know where people stand. Now, I'm not saying that everyone is like that, right? I mean, you're gonna have some BS's finessers no matter where in the world you are. But what I would say is that, like, people, you will know where you will know where people stand with you, with you, and they'll let you know, like, whether, like, you're like their friend or not their friend. People are typically genuine people, and there are a lot of genuine people here in the States too. But the thing is that, like, um man, it's a needle in a haystack of needles. So what'd you say?
Yes, yes. No, I say yeah, and I agree. It's really hard to kind of find a lot of genuine people, and I will say that even in the poly realm, lifestyles and poly people we hide. We're all over the place, but we hide. And then unless you know, you don't know. And so
Mhm.
when you go to these other places too, a lot of times it's just a lot of just more openness about who you are and what you are. And your interactions with people is a little bit different. So it is nice to have that freedom in other places that you don't really necessarily get here, which is interesting. Because supposed to be
Right.
the land of the free, you would think you would have more freedoms to say who you are, but I think there's a lot more kind of judgmental things that are here.
Yeah.
Um, and that's just what it is. But
Yeah.
yes, I appreciate you for coming. I really do. Thanks for blessing us with your presence, and I'm sure we'll have another time. And we're gonna keep on going on our journey, guys. Thank you for coming out and spending the evening with us. And like I said,
Yep.
if you guys want to Poly by Nations, we're gonna find another location to visit next time, and we're gonna keep going on this and see what it's like. So you guys can find a place that you would love to go join or be part of or communicate with others, and we're gonna leave it at that. Anything else you'd like to say? Where to find you or anything else there before we let you go?
Yeah, so just make sure that you do follow me on Instagram and subscribe to my YouTube channel. As you can see on the bottom left of my screen, so that's Kings and Dreams. So that's KING, the letter Z, the letter N, and then Dreams with a Z, all one word. That is on YouTube, Instagram, also TikTok as well. So definitely on my way to 2K subscribers. And gonna be very, very aggressive. Gonna be very, very aggressive. So by the end of 2023, I'm looking to get to 15, 20,000. I'm coming for it. I'm coming for it all. Coming for it all, man. But I appreciate you all. Stay purposely purposeful. And shout out to Miss Polly.
Yes. And he ain't on Mac. I want to say hi there. I know you came in late. Go back and check out the show. We'll leave it, it's gonna be there for you. So if you need some more time tonight, watch it. And okay, guys, we'll see you again. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.